The barbell squats incident. On August 23, 2024, 22-year-old Ariadna Lizeth Mata Esparza was exercising at Fitness Sports Gym in Torreon, Mexico. She worked as a nursery school teacher and was deeply committed to her fitness routine, visiting the gym frequently to stay healthy. That afternoon was meant to be another standard workout. She moved through her usual exercises, transitioning between machines and preparing for her squat set. Everything appeared normal until it wasn't. Without warning, Esparza suddenly became unsteady and collapsed onto the gym floor. She fell hard, and those nearby rushed over immediately, calling out to her and attempting to get a response, but she remained completely unresponsive. Although the exact sequence of her workout couldn't be fully confirmed, it was clear that something critical had occurred around the time of her barbell squats. Paramedics arrived quickly and took over life-saving efforts, but despite continuous attempts, she was pronounced dead on site. Medical findings later determined that the cause was anoxemia, a dangerous drop in oxygen levels within the blood. During strenuous exercise, this condition can overwhelm the heart as it tries to compensate by pumping faster. Her collapse happened without warning. No prior symptoms, no history of illness, nothing to suggest immediate danger. Her family was left devastated. Esparza had been young, active, and committed to maintaining her well-being. She went to the gym to improve her health and care for her body. Yet she lost her life there, surrounded by people who tried desperately to help. The open-air gym incident. On October 13, 2024, a 4-year-old boy was spending the afternoon at an outdoor workout area in West Delhi's Moti Nagar. These free exercise zones are common across India. He was there with his family, climbing around the structures and treating them like playground equipment. Although the machines weren't meant for kids, the site had no barriers, warnings, or supervision. While he was moving around one of the stations, a loose part of the equipment shifted. A metal section toppled onto him, slamming his small body to the ground. The impact was severe enough that he collapsed instantly. People nearby rushed over as soon as they saw him fall. They managed to lift the fallen piece off him, but he remained motionless, unresponsive, and bleeding heavily. Someone immediately contacted emergency services while others tried to help, but the damage was already critical. He was taken to the hospital without delay. Doctors attempted resuscitation and performed emergency procedures, but his injuries were far too serious. He was declared dead shortly after reaching the facility. The collapse of an MMA fighter. On a training day in 2024, inside an MMA facility in the United States, athletes rotated through afternoon conditioning drills. Zach, 18 years old, was positioned near the center mat completing a high-intensity session. The gym stayed warm from continuous sparring rounds as coaches directed fighters through pads and footwork stations. Zach trained with increasing fatigue, having consumed an energy drink his girlfriend had warned him about, and continued drills despite visible exhaustion. He collapsed straight onto the mat without bracing, his head and shoulders striking first before his body went limp. During the next sequence, Zach's posture faltered as his legs suddenly buckled beneath him. Coaches and medical staff rushed in and began resuscitation efforts. Zach died in the hospital a few days after the collapse. His father described spending Zach's final moments at his bedside, offering a final goodbye. The incident renewed discussions on hydration, stimulant use, and monitoring during high-intensity combat sport workouts. The faulty treadmill incident. On July 11, 2023, at around 7:15 a.m. on a warm and humid Tuesday, Gymlex Fitness Zone in Rohini Sector 15, Delhi, was filled with its usual morning regulars. Among the members that day was 24-year-old Saksham Pruth, a B.Tech graduate employed at a company in Gurugram. He lived with his family in Rohini Sector 19, only a short drive from the gym. After finishing a demanding set of weightlifting, Saksham lowered himself to the floor to recover, sitting between two treadmills. He leaned back slightly and rested his hand on the metal side rail of one of the machines. Unbeknownst to him, that treadmill had an electrical defect, likely caused by poor insulation, inadequate grounding, or moisture from recent rainfall. The metal frame was carrying active current. The moment his skin made contact, electricity surged through his body. Witnesses reported hearing a sudden snap before seeing his body stiffen and collapse. A gym member named Keshav rushed in to help, but as soon as he grabbed Saksham's arm, he felt a jolt himself and jumped back in pain. Chaos spread quickly as others yelled for someone to shut off the main power supply. Doctors at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Hospital pronounced Saksham dead on arrival, with an autopsy confirming electrocution marked by visible burn paths. Investigators found live current in the treadmill's metal components, leading to the gym owner's arrest for negligent operation and causing death under Indian Penal Code sections 287 and 304A. Pontianak Gym Tragedy. On June 18, 2024, a woman in Indonesia was running on a treadmill inside a gym located on an upper floor of a building in Pontianak, West Kalimantan. The facility had wide windows overlooking the area and was a popular spot for regular workouts. She was in the middle of a routine session, maintaining a steady, moderate pace. At around 1 p.m., she paused briefly to wipe sweat from her face. At that moment, she lost her footing and stumbled backward. Directly behind the treadmill, roughly 2 feet away, was a large window that had been left open for ventilation. The backward momentum carried her straight into it. Unable to regain balance or grab anything for support, she fell through the open window and dropped from the 3rd floor to the ground below. Witnesses on the street saw her fall but could do nothing to intervene. The impact caused severe trauma, including critical head injuries. Emergency services responded quickly, but the extent of the injuries was overwhelming. She was pronounced dead shortly afterward. The squat press incident. On July 15, 2023, fitness influencer Justin Vicky was training at Paradise Bali Gym in Denpasar, Indonesia. He was 33 years old, well known in the bodybuilding community, and worked as a personal trainer. With an Instagram following of more than 30,000 people, he motivated countless clients and shared his progress online. Around midday, Vicky prepared to attempt a heavy squat press, roughly 460 pounds resting across his shoulders. He had performed demanding squats many times before and had even mentioned in a recent video that the movement was extremely risky, yet he continued challenging himself. He stepped under the bar, braced his stance, and a spotter positioned himself directly behind him while another gym member watched from the side. Vicky unracked the weight and took a few steps back. He lowered himself into the squat, the loaded bar pressing firmly across his upper back. But when he tried driving upwards, something was off. His legs strained, but he couldn't regain his stance. Fatigue had overtaken him. He dropped into a seated position beneath the bar. In that moment, the weight rolled forward and came down onto the back of his neck. The spotter attempted to hold the barbell, but he also lost balance and fell backward with Vicky. The collapsing weight struck Vicky's neck, causing a catastrophic spinal injury and compressing critical nerves. He lost consciousness instantly. Justin Vicky passed away shortly after surgery. Bench press tragedy. On October 3, 2017, late one night, a 20-year-old student, Wang Zongren, was at the gym at Angjaya in Selangor, Malaysia. He was a fitness enthusiast and a part-time real estate agent. Around 8 p.m. that day, Wang visited the gym. He was alone, training by himself. Wang was doing bench presses, had loaded about 238 pounds onto the barbell. Not an extreme weight for an experienced lifter, but heavy enough to be dangerous without a spotter. He knew that. Everyone knows that. But he was training alone anyway. Wang lay back on the bench, lifted the bar off the rack, lowered it to his chest, then pressed. The reps were going fine. Then all of a sudden, fatigue set in. On one rep, he couldn't get the bar back up. The barbell came down on his chest. He tried pushing it off, but 238 pounds was too heavy. He was trapped, the bar pressing on him, making it hard to breathe and impossible to escape. There was nobody there to help, nobody to lift the bar off him. He struggled under the weight, trying to breathe, but the bar kept pressing down. His strength was fading. Time passed, and eventually Wang stopped struggling. He stopped breathing. The weight had won. Hours later, his friend found him still on the bench with the babble across his neck and chest. He'd been dead for hours.